should I give up on English? Once upon a time, there was a girl named Aisha who dreamed of speaking fluent English. Growing up in a small town where everyone spoke her native language, she had rarely heard English spoken around her. Yet, she knew that learning it would open doors to new places, friendships, and opportunities she could only imagine. So, one day, she decided to enroll in an English course at a nearby school, ready to face the challenge. At first, Aisha's excitement was boundless. She loved the way English words sounded, soft yet clear, and she was thrilled when she learned to introduce herself and say simple sentences like, "My name is Aisha, and I am a student." Her teacher, Mr. James, was kind and patient, always encouraging her with a smile. Aisha found herself staying up late, practicing words over and over, savoring each small success as she learned to pronounce phrases and form basic questions. But as the lessons progressed, she quickly realized that English was far more complex than she had expected. Every time she thought she had a word or phrase mastered, something new would come up to trip her up. The grammar was tricky, she couldn't figure out why verbs changed tense or how words like have and has were supposed to be used. And don't even get her started on a and the. Each tiny rule seemed to have an exception, and the irregular verbs felt impossible to remember. At night, Aisha would go over her notes, staring at the pages in frustration. Why did English have so many strange spellings and silent letters? How was knife spelled with a K, and why did read and read look the same but sound different depending on the sentence? Her classmates seemed to pick up on things more quickly, and she often overheard them chatting in broken but confident English. Meanwhile, she struggled to find the courage to even say hello to someone new in English without feeling embarrassed. One rainy evening, after another difficult day in class, Aisha sat alone in her room and finally thought, maybe I'm just not cut out for this. Maybe I'll never be good at English. She remembered the time she'd stumbled over words in front of her classmates, how her cheeks had flushed with embarrassment. She thought about how many other kids seemed to breeze through, while she tripped over the same words, again and again. She had worked so hard, yet it felt like she was hardly getting anywhere. Her heart felt heavy with the thought of giving up. But as she sat there, staring out at the rain drizzling against her window, she remembered something Mr. James had said on the first day of class: learning a language is like planting a seed. You won't see anything right away, but with patience and care, something beautiful will grow. She had liked that idea at the time, but she hadn't realized how much patience it would take. Aisha took a deep breath and thought of all the reasons she had started learning English in the first place. She thought of the new books she wanted to read, the international friends she hoped to make, and the places she dreamed of traveling someday. She thought of how proud her little sister was every time Aisha taught her a new word, and the spark of joy in her mother's eyes when Aisha told her about her classes. And so, despite feeling like she'd hit a wall, Aisha decided to keep going, just a little longer. The next day, she went back to class and asked Mr. James for extra help after school. She began practicing with anyone who would listen, even if it was just a hello or a thank you to a stranger in the market. She spent an extra hour each night listening to English songs, slowly piecing together the words and phrases. It was hard and humbling, but bit by bit, she felt herself getting better. Weeks turned into months, and Aisha's confidence grew. She still made mistakes, of course. But she found herself laughing at them instead of feeling embarrassed. She saw her English not as a perfect set of skills, but as something alive, something she could always improve. Years later, when Aisha was an adult, fluent and confident in her English, she looked back on that rainy evening with a smile. She realized that giving up would have been easy, but she was grateful she hadn't. She had learned more than just a language, she had learned resilience, patience, and belief in herself. And whenever someone asked her how she became so good at English, she would tell them, with a knowing smile, just like planting a seed. It takes time.